Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have seen enough. Throughout the past, I don't know, year plus, we have seen many different heroes data mined, many different ones come to the game, and many new things. But you know the one hero that's been ignored? War Machine. But when do we want him? Now! Hey guys, how's it going? My name is JazzyBars2, and today we're going to talk about War Machine and how he could actually be really cool for this game. So if you like the video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications. So far, I'm doing pretty good with the upload schedule, and I plan to continue it. And before we start the video, I just want to answer one question that I've been getting a lot recently. Well, a lot of people have been actually asking this. Jazzy, why do you want War Machine in the game? He's just going to be like Iron Man, but with more weapons. Well, it all starts when the data miner slash journalist Miller basically said that War Machine was in the data mines, and then someone else, I think, released the concept art for him. And you can see that in the thumbnail. That's his concept art. So, personally, I just really want to see him in the game. He's such a cool character from the comics and in the movies. He's got such a good range of things that he could do. And with Crystal Dynamics and their combat system, he could go really far and be like really fun. Possibly better than Iron Man. And Iron Man's my main. So I'm just saying. But for the rest of this video, we're just going to go KAGE SMG style. We're going to talk about his story, the move set, the villains, and then final thoughts. So be sure to subscribe to KAGE SMG. He is awesome, makes really good content, and let's go. So when it comes to Rhodey's story, we do need to know a couple things, so let me catch you all up real quick. Number one, after A-Day happened, the Avengers were disbanded mainly due to the government. Number two, Rhodey is a part of the government, and after A-Day, he still has the armor and works for them. And then number three, we don't know where Rhodey is. So taking all of this into account, I actually had quite a bit of ideas for his story, but I think I landed on one really good choice. And that is Rhodey versus the Avengers at first, but teams up with them at the end. Now I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like out of hand, too much for Crystal Dynamics' workload, but hear me out. So, here's how I think the story will go. It starts off with the Avengers on a mission, defeating AIM, possibly Claw mixed in with it, etc., etc., etc. The usual routine like you usually do. You take down AIM bots, you hack into their servers, take stuff down, etc. But there is only one issue. We get to see the human side of it. So, from everybody's standpoint, AIM is pretty much the heroes, and Avengers are not really liked in public media, which includes the government. And naturally, the government is going to get tired of the Avengers, quote unquote, destroying their best workers, even though AIM is evil and they just don't know it yet. So I have a feeling that they would send out War Machine for this. Why would they send him out? Because he knows Tony Stark. Makes sense. He could probably talk them out of it, or else he's going to take them down. And ultimately, Rhodey gets there. They have a talk. And Rhodey's basically saying, hey, look, man, the government is after you guys. And they're getting tired of what you're doing, even though it is right. So it's either you guys have to stop for a while, or we're going to have to resolve something because they're telling me to take you guys in, dead or alive. Something like that. Whatever you want to do like that. And ultimately, you got a couple missions with War Machine, solving stuff, maybe even a villain in there if you really want to. A cutscene to introduce him, a couple more cutscenes. I don't know, whatever you want to do with an operation or a hero event. And at the end of the day, Rhodey could either A, join the Avengers, which I highly doubt because he is with the government, and he'll be hunted too. And they also know where he is because there is a tracker in the armor. Or option number two, he lets the Avengers go and gives them a what's the word I for and gives them an excuse. There we go. Sorry, I done fluked there. And you know, he could just say, oh, they got away, I couldn't catch them, etc. They're stronger than I thought. And then he could occasionally come back to help and assist them. So yeah, that's how a story could go. Or you have option two, where he comes in with Captain Marvel and they get a brief introduction, and then you continue on with the story. And then I don't know how Rhodey will be introduced there, but I guess that could work. Maybe he will be out in space. That would be great. But yeah, his story could be really cool, and if you do the missions right or the objectives right, he could have a really fun story to play with. But whenever it comes to his heroics and his abilities and combat sets, oh boy, it gets even better. That's right, I came prepared. A long time ago, I made a concept for War Machine in Marvel's Avengers, talking about all of his abilities and his melee combos and etc. etc. So let's get right into how I think he should play. Starting off with the main 3 ranged weapons, as a lot of heroes have those. His first ranged weapon should be the machine guns on his arms. These are the most iconic ones that he uses, and naturally these could come in handy. I'm thinking there could be a charge shot for a shotgun. You could probably trade that out. The second one would be missiles from his right shoulder, kind of like Iron Man. If they really want to reuse some stuff, just make it like that, but make it the micro missiles, I'm thinking. Right? Like, you know how the Hulkbuster fires a bunch of micro missiles? Make it like that. And then for his final range weapon, the back-mounted machine gun. I really want to use that, and we'll get into that in a minute. For his melee attacks, though, his light melee will be the War Hammer, aka the one from Civil War when he tries to attack Cap with it, but it gets broken like a toothpick. And then his heavy melee is the machine guns on the side of his arms. Now, I'm not talking about the ones that I just talked about a couple, like 30 seconds ago, but I mean legit multiple. Like, that would be insane. They do more damage, they heat up faster, but ultimately it's worth it, right? So with those 3 intact, you could do a lot already. And I know it's just guns, but we're gonna get into it. Now, for his heroics, his support heroic would be the ex-wife. Press L1 to fire the ex-wife and pierce armor from an enemy. That sounds pretty good if you ask me, because it's pretty much just getting rid of armor instantly, and I think this should also work on bosses. A huge downside with Spider-Man is his webs didn't work on bosses, so I would like to see them improve that with the new heroes, and then later go back to Spider-Man. With its assault heroic ability though, it's missile fire. Press R1 to launch a group of missiles towards enemies. Honestly, I really like this one. It could work. If you just give him the right amount of missiles, kind of like Hulkbuster, but better. Make them all like tracking missiles off the jump. And then you could switch it in between there. Make the missiles scatter off into more, like Split Shot. Do what you want. He has a lot of artillery. Maybe you could switch it out within the skill tree. You could do a lot of different types of missiles. And then for his ultimate heroic, Artillery Barrage. Press L1 and R1 simultaneously to activate all of War Machine's weapons and put the back-mounted gun on autopilot. While active, damage is doubled and extra armor is added. Getting hit takes away armor. The back-mounted machine gun will shoot any nearby enemies instantly. This one, I gotta say, I think I outdid myself. Nah, but for real though, I would really like to see how War Machine plays. And if he plays like this, I will not complain. Just have him be a powerhouse. Have him be the War Machine. With flight, I'd say slower than Iron Man. Like, just by a tad bit. I know that's gonna be a bit controversial since traversal is already slow in this game. And trust me, we'll talk about it in another video. But I feel like if you want a character to be a character, they have to feel like the character. AKA, if you want Iron Man to be Iron Man, he has to feel like Iron Man. If you want Hulk to be Hulk, he has to feel like Hulk. And I feel like War Machine should fly slower, I'm sorry. And then for his intrinsic bar, when overcharged, War Machine does more damage. But again, there is that heating mechanic. So naturally, if you fire too much, then it will go down. And if you go overcharged, then you can fire as many times as you want until it goes down. So overall, just to recap, powerhouse, do as much damage as you want, get it done. And then next up, we have the villains. This could honestly really go anywhere, considering the fact that we've gotten crazy villains before, like Hawkeye with Maestro or Kate with the Super Adaptoid. But I'm thinking we should stick to more Iron Man level villains. So here's a couple suggestions for like villain sectors: Beetle, Whiplash, Crimson Dynamo, and possibly, if you really want to go there, Justin, Hammer, or Stiltman. Those could all work. Those could all be a part of something, and you could probably easily make those. I think Beetle should come first, though, especially since he was mentioned in the prequel comics. But as for an OLT or a raid, I'm thinking, if they ever do one, anyways, I'm thinking the Mandarin. It's time to bring him in here. With the 10 rings, that could be very, very interesting, especially for an OLT. And if he teams up with Ultron, that would be great too. You know what I'm saying? Either way, though, it definitely seems like he could have a lot of villain choices if they make him an operation. Now, if he's a hero event, he's not going to get a villain, sadly. But overall, he's got a lot of potential. Like, a lot of potential. And there you go, bada bing, bada boom. That's how you bring War Machine into the game and how he could play and how his villains will go out, and etc. etc. As for the final thoughts, since this is the KAGE SMG style, I think a lot more heroes like War Machine need to be added into the game. Like, not for the sake of being copycats or echoes, as we gamers like to call it in this community, but for the fact that you could prove that any hero can be unique. They did it with Kate and Clint. They're going to do it with Hulk and She-Hulk. And overall, they're just going to do it with a lot more heroes, most likely. I mean, that mystery character is an echo of itself, and we don't even know who that is. And that could turn out really well as well. So, and to top it off, you could do a lot with War Machine. His combat would be amazing. The villains you bring in could be amazing if you want to do a separate villain sector after he drops. And the story could also be really intriguing. Like, I had this theory a while ago that War Machine would help out She-Hulk in court because Rhodey has military files, and they would stop the government from thinking they were bad or whatever, and then the Avengers would be safe, something like that. I don't know. It didn't make sense then, but it was a good idea. So, overall, there you go. If you guys want to see me talk about more heroes that could come to the game, I would gladly do so. And hopefully, don't take offense to this, Kage. Really love your videos. Just decided to do it in your style today. So yeah, the next video will be about the traversal and how it could improve. And pretty much, guys, that's about it. So I'll see you guys later. Have a good day. Be sure to like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. And hashtag War Machine Nation if you want to see this guy come into the game. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Peace.